talk about those earlier, I'm gonna redo them for the stream, and obviously, standard introductions are gonna be a part of it.
A Moonshine King wants it?
Yeah, bring him in.
Oh,
alright.
Hey, my man.
Oh, hi.
Welcome aboard. We're gonna we are currently right now live about to talk about the new Unearthed Arcana that came out. For the most part, yeah, new Unearthed Arcana came out. The Dragonborn is actually now gonna have three different sub races where you can be.
Wait,
Oh, what's
you
up?
serious?
Yeah, there's now gonna be Chromatic, Metallic, and Gem.
First off, if I am able to, thank you for letting me join this stream.
You're more than fine. All it is right now is we're waiting for. I usually give about 10 minutes to kind of let an audience join on in, so we can go ahead and start after a 10-minute timer. So for now, it's just kind of like get yourself a refreshment. Usually the stream can sometimes vary between like 2 to 3 hours for the talk show ones, and yeah. Today is all about players. So after we go over the Unearthed Arcana, we're probably going to do more about the character creation that you can do with these things, and just like, overall like player hype for this.
Alright, that's
so
cool.
Where can I find the Unearthed Arcana?
I will be posting a link to it right now. I'll probably be posting a link when we officially are going to start reading it, because that way we can go side by side rather than going on ahead. Okay.
That's cool. So, since you seem to know, so we got 3 new sub races for Dragonborns.
Yes.
Is there anything else new, like spell wise?
Yes, there's a lot of content in this. This entire one, all I'm gonna say is that this entire Unearthed Arcana is labeled as Draconic options. So
what does psychic breath look like?
Here. So I know. Once again, guys, there's a lot that we want to go over. There's a lot, but I'm gonna try to ask you to hold your excitement. We're gonna go ahead and wait for the timer to wrap up, because this content is something I'm a bit excited for what came before it. But I already have a water bottle here from last night that's still nice and cold. I'd like to hope that. What's up?
Got my water bottle from work. Still nice and cold with ice in it. So.
Hell yeah! Look at this. All right, let's see. There's another piece of content I need to pull up for this. Oh, that's right. Let me go ahead and do this for you guys. This is probably what I'm gonna do for it. So I'm also screen sharing it for you guys, so you guys can see exactly what I'm looking at. But there's something specific I'm looking for amongst the marketplace sources. There is. Actually, no. Let's just view all, because I think it's only available to see like that. Thank you so much, Moonshine, for the follow. We're now at 217. Hell yeah. Oh, where is? I know it's in here somewhere.
So just to kind of let you know, I'm still, like I said, I'm still kind of new to it. I don't know what exactly I can build.
That's more than fine. If anything, that's perfect for you to be on here. This is the type of because it's player focused. It means that you're going to be able to ask questions as a new player.
Hey, Glitch. I might change your guys' names just temporarily. Sorry.
It's fine. My name is legally now Twig, so.
Don't worry, I won't change it too much. I promise.
Legally not Twig.
Just a thing for Tuesday group. I did change my character's name from Zanril to Zandril.
Okay, thank you so much. I'll go ahead and update the stream frame like that sometime after this. Where the fuck is? Actually, I think I can find it in monsters. Let's try that.
Yeah, I think there's still no open thing for the weekend one yet.
Not yet. There's a lot of people who are looking for that slot to be opened up as well. So, for now, we're just kind of like leaving it. Here it is. In case you guys didn't know that this is a thing in D&D.
Sapphire Dragon.
Wait, is that the jewel one?
Yes. Let's see.
What voice text am I supposed to be looking at in here? Hold on.
Oh well, it's right now on the screen share. If you're able to see that.
Oh, I've got my, what's it called? My, my laptop open. I'm gonna pull up the link myself.
Yeah.
If you would be
Okay.
so kind as to put that.
All right.
Chat.
You should be able to view this. This is some stuff I'll get prepped up for it. Okay. So this is what I want to open with first before we talked about the Unearthed Arcana, because it's definitely going to be a good like segue into it. Because actually a lot of people don't know this. This content that I'm popping up here, it's on D&D Beyond because it's official. Adult Sapphire Dragons are a thing.
Ooh.
That's so fucking pretty.
That
Oh my
looks
god.
so
It is
fucking cool.
baby.
It's baby.
It is baby.
It is.
It's got star sapphire, like the asterisms on it. That's a really
Oh,
neat little
I was
effect.
hoping for the color
fucking
jade, but sapphire's
beautiful,
not bad.
dude.
Mm-hmm.
Dude,
Yes.
a jade dragon would be cool as fuck.
And as you can see,
Yeah.
like look at all this content that's on this monster page alone. Let me. I'm trying to remember. You would have to go to Marketplace Store. Let me see if you can find this, because okay, I myself can't see it, but if any of you guys were to go to the Marketplace, you would find this as a solo content. By the way, this single monster is a thing you can buy by itself, because I believe it was something that was made. There was some sort of like. It was some sort of a promotional thing, and it's for all proceeds go to a specific fundraiser when you buy this specific content.
And this cough drop is
I
kind of
bet
fucking
that, like,
nasty.
if you were to like slay it
But
and
I
like
need it.
basically take all the sapphire you could find off of it, you'd get like a lot of
Yeah,
money
it's-
for it.
Oh, here it is. Yes, okay. Sapphire Dragon. Capture the first sightings of the elusive Sapphire Dragon. It's only $2 for this. The purchase unlocks the Sapphire Dragon stat block, including its descriptions, layer actions, history, searchable character builder, digital character sheet, and encounter builder, and proceeds from this support Extra Life. You can head to the D&D page on Extra Life to find out more.
Oh, they're doing an Extra Life campaign right now. Okay.
Well, this is kind of like that's what this was made for. When this originally launched, it was for the Extra Life Extra Life D&D.
This cough drop is ass. Oh my god, but I need it.
Oh no.
I'm trying to see if this
Well-
is even. Okay, yeah. Oh, that's all. I think this is an old stream. Oh, they didn't get too much with this. It's crazy. I bet it was because like not a lot of people like knew that this was a thing that was out, because it's such like a small thing. Like you guys didn't even know about the Gem Dragon's existence.
A lot of people also don't really know what extra
They're-
life is.
Yeah.
Let's see, what
I
is
never knew
Extra Life?
that a gem dragon can even be like something other than like homemade.
Yeah.
Extra Life. We play games so that children's hospitals in the United States and Canada can have the funding they need. So think of it as a type of like, hey guys, when we do an Extra Life fundraiser type thing, we are trying all proceeds go towards this so that we can help those kids have better times in the hospitals, medicines and stuff like that. Apply any sort of technology that goes towards it. And it's all through like gaming stuff. So you'd imagine Extra Life, you'd only really see it through like Twitch streamings or like Facebook and YouTube streamings that are dedicated for this. Yeah, it's powered by Twitch. Yeah, Twitch did a good job with this.
Oh shit, dude. I just read through like all the fucking gem dragon shit here.
Yeah. Once again, we're still waiting on it. We have like exactly 1 minute before we officially can start like gushing over it. So I'm gonna ask that, same thing. Go get yourself refreshments. It's good to stay hydrated.
Are there any images for the other gem dragons? I want to see what they
No.
look like too.
Same thing. I'll pull that up on this. I'll pull that up on the stream share, because the Sapphire Dragon is kind of the only one we have that's official. But with this, with like what's coming in Unearthed Arcana, for a fact they're like, it's time, guys.
Dude,
It's time.
This is fucking gorgeous.
It's
oh my god.
I'm already thinking of like a new op build sort of. If there may be an implement of like you able to summon like gem like minions.
Like, guys, in stream VC text, this is me right now, seeing this content and knowing what's to come. Oh my god! Okay, it's happening.
So, Lich, what makes you excited about this? Why are you like super excited? If you can.
All right, hold on. 3, 2, 1. Welcome everyone to the Nerdy Talk with XenoLich, where today we have an exciting thing. Granted, I am a little late. It was, and I'm sorry for last week's mishap. I had a little bit of a throat issue, so I was unable to perform for a few of the streams. But nonetheless, as you guys have seen from any of our previous streams, I am back and I'm now feeling good. My throat is now moistened. Please make sure to drink your water, folks. I swear to God, it helps you stay alive. And today's content is going to be about the new Unearthed Arcana that literally dropped today. I want to say it was within the past few hours, and wow, is there a lot to talk about. But before we go ahead and talk about our content as well, what's to come with said content in relation, I want to go ahead and start by introducing the people who are right now currently joined us, and as well as when new people join us, we will be introducing them accordingly. Starting from the top of the order, we have Moonshine King. Go ahead and say hello to the audience.
Hi.
There we go, there we go. You guys would probably recognize Glitch, as he is one of our Monday players now, and known for the character Run.
Hello.
One of the Saturday players and my lover is Skittles right over here.
Blush. Hi there.
We have we have Hive, of course, who you all would recognize as Twig on the Tuesday one, or probably as their previous character from the previous campaign. Hive.
Oh, Quinn. Sorry. That's
Quinn. There you go. And lastly, we have our fellow avian bird over here, who you would know for last campaign playing as
Croak with the didgeridoo.
Yep, Croak with the didgeridoo, and who is now starting off the new campaign as Xandril. But with everyone introduced, let's go ahead and get dived on in. But before we actually go into the Unearthed Arcana, which is going to be really cool because it's about Draconic options, we're actually going to start with something that has been out for quite some time, and it supports a really good cause. I want to introduce you all to the Adult Sapphire Dragon. This is a $2 supplement that you can buy on D&D Beyond, and any proceeds go to Extra Life, a foundation that is powered by Twitch and allows people to help out any children's in hospitals through streaming gaming content and fundraising and such like that. I am currently not running the foundation, but this is still a good cause to support. And hey, it's a $2 supplement for a monster with a lot of lore, and for what looks like it's going to get more content with this teasing from the Unearthed Arcana. So let's go ahead and just first off start off with, it's a Sapphire Dragon. We're not talking chromatic, we're not talking metallic, we're talking gems now. And pretty much, as you guys can see, Adult Sapphire Dragons is what you'd imagine to be kind of one of the different types of dragons you would see. In the same way that there's 5 chromatics and 5 metallics, there are 5 gem dragons. However, though, they don't come in your standard like red to yellow order. These ones are more based off of certain colorings. So Sapphire is the one that was released thus far. And Sapphire Dragons, unlike their metallic and chromatic brethren that do elemental type breaths, this one does psychic damage with it. Actually, no, is this? No, this is thunder? I want to be sure about that. Yes, Sapphires are thunder damage. So I want you guys to imagine that when this thing breathes, it's not so... the visual effect is probably like you're seeing the air distort because it's sound itself that it's firing off with its breath. And what a powerful one. For a
It
adult...
just screams really loud.
Exactly. For an adult, you're looking at a 60-foot cone that does 13d6s of thunder damage, and it incapacitates people when if they fail to save as well. Every gem dragon appears to have some sort of psionic ability as to somehow, like, you know, that's a probably good way to imagine these things. There's probably small creases where the gems actually are separate, and so the psionic energy allows them to maintain and connect their parts of their bodies. So it kind of be funny as, aha, I severed the wing off. Oh, what's this? The wing is just reconnecting to its body because it's psychic. That's dumb. It's crazy. They are cave dwellers, martial and very territorial, rivals and vassals, hoarded armories, and gem dragons you can see, reclusive sentinels, charismatic and suave, powerful minds, and sovereign gem dragons. These, I think, if we're taking a look, and if chromatics are evil, and your metallics are lawful, and typically aligned on the good nature, I would imagine that gem dragons are on the lawful side, but probably more leaning onto the neutral, because they're not here to be good, they're not here to be bad, they're just sovereign, they watch over, and it's more of like a protection of their own things. You can see there's a lot of stuff that goes in here, but you can, God, just look how fucking pretty this dragon is, even in the fucking concept design.
That is some really good.
They're
fucking art.
so cool.
Yes.
God, I fucking love them so
So,
much already.
essentially-
I
so
want
essentially we can,
dude.
Here, one at a time.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I want to see what, like, specifically a crystal dragon looks like, because
Yes.
the Sapphire Dragon's looking clean.
So, we will jump back to the topic of dragons. I wanted this to kind of be the leading to the topic, because starting with the Unearthed Arcana now, we are now going into Draconic options. Yes, everyone, finally, there are now separate Draconic races. And from what we can see, it looks like Dragonborn are going to be, the primary focus of this, where Dragonborn generally get the type of ability score improvements. But unlike previous races where like it was a set stat, either a set 2 stat improvement, now it looks like we're moving forward. We're probably going to be getting this pick and choose, because now, just like the Fey races, you can pick 1 stat to be increased by 2 and another stat to be increased by 1, or you can pick 3 different stats to be increased by 1. Very similar to what the Fey races were.
Interesting.
Yes.
That's really good.
I like this a lot, because it means that when you now, moving forward, D&D is going to try to make it that you don't have to worry, because there are so many people that when you're in character creation, we all know, as much as you want to play a certain race, you can't help but see the stat bonuses, and you're like, I gotta pick the one that gives me my actual stat buff.
So, I kind of have a thing about this.
Go for it.
Most of the time, I started in Pathfinder, and Pathfinder is very build heavy game, because there's just so much stuff, and like I always have that mentality when I'm building like a 5e character. I'm like, fuck, big number not big, me not like.
Exactly. It sucks, because it's like, it's not even a Pathfinder thing. It's like there's always some level of min max, I believe, in everyone's build, because if how do I put this? Min maxing, you want to make the character perform to the best of your abilities in the best way that you can envision them, and sometimes in order to accomplish that, you need those stat buffs. So
A lot of times you have to like sacrifice feats too, because you could have gone with something else, but you're like, I need this stat buff, so you had to go with this certain type of feat, which was always a pain in the butt.
Right, and so you have this thing where how do I put it? Tasha's Cauldron and everything was such a blessing, because on top of all the subclasses, which, everyone always loves subclasses, we are now taking a look at more flexibility. Now you're really picking the race because of the actual ability it's giving you, and not the stat buff. And on top of this, to also add into this, I want to point out, some time ago, Wizards of the Coast made it official that races don't have negative stat bonuses. So orcs and kobolds don't have the -1 to intelligence or the -2 to strength, and that's nice. It's nice to know that if I really did want to play a kobold, I'm no longer hurting myself by doing that. Where like if I wanted to make a barbarian kobold, well fuck, now my strength score is gonna be a -2, so as much as I'm gonna try, the game's playing against me to do that.
Question. Isn't usually like I usually go by the point system. I never really roll my points or anything when it comes to like skills or abilities, but isn't there usually like 1 negative in a sheet?
So that's how at least previous editions seem to have been. You would see that a lot of times there would be what's I'm looking for. There was things you had to kind of take and give. D&D throughout the years always has been improving upon its race options. I mean, let's head back to the way beginning where Elf was an actual class, and you would pick Elf because you want to do magic. There was no way you could be a dwarf mage, and there was no way you can be a human mage. You had to be an elf.
That was so
What the
long
fuck?
time ago. Yeah.
Yeah. And so it's like, maybe for the typical fantasy thing, I guess if we head so far back where fantasy still was rougher than it is now, yeah, sure. You have to pick elf, because back then no one, like, sure, I could be a human, but what's an elf? And it's like you hear all about the elves and they're so cool and stuff. But then, fantasy and RPGs start becoming so much of a thing that elves become more commonplace to the point where elves kind of lost ironically, elves lost the magic that they used to have, because Elf was this rare thing that you would hear about and you'd want to play it because it was so out there. And now everyone hears an elf. Ugh, how many subclasses do they have?
Frickin' knife, you
Fucking-
bastards.
Dude, I remember when I when I first started playing D&D with my dad as the DM. He always kind of taught me that dwarves could not do magic of any kind, like
Right.
at all.
And-
They could be clerics, but not like a mage of any sort.
And so hearing that, you're like, that's kind of weird. So does that mean magic is very racist? And it's like, no, that's not it. Dwarves just don't have magic in them. Why though? It's just how it
It's
is.
like,
They're too short to contain it.
They're too short to contain it. Here, hold on.
it's like,
Let me go ahead
it's
and
like-
do a quick introduction. Just stream, go ahead and welcome Mex. He is who you would all know for our Monday stream as Hallie. Mex, go ahead and say hello.
Hello, I am a baby owl.
Exactly. And now go ahead, Moonshine. Go ahead and continue your point.
I was gonna say, like, I feel like back then it's like for I'm gonna use an example for Dragon Age, because I played Dragon Age. Dwarves can't use magic because they resist it, so maybe like it kind of goes to that line back then. But now I'm guessing it's a lot more like a mixture of colors in a paint jar.
If I may, I like this. I like the sound of dwarves having this like resistance to magic, and so that's why like maybe it's not so much that you can't be a mage because of dwarf because magic just doesn't like you, but because your body has innate anti-magic built in. I like that. But
Yeah, I think that's kind of
that would be a fun explanation to play it. But then you still have the person who like, I'm gonna homebrew a dwarven mage. They're the one dwarf who is not anti-magic because of a mutation. It's like, why can't that just be the thing, right? Because when you take the word homebrew and throw it at someone who is a very like by the rules person, you're going to run into someone who very much says it's not official, I don't want to play it, and there goes a lot of your creativity.
I mean, the other thing is also like if dwarves are resistant to magic, and that's the reason they can't use magic. What about like aberrant mind sorcerer dwarf? Is that technically a possibility because like their main source of magic is
Psionic, right?
Psychic, yeah, psionic instead of like actual magic.
Well, here, if it's explained that the aberrant mind unlocks the sorcery within you, and then as you level up more and more, you can call upon the aberrant mind to help you do spells for free rather than using the magic that's awoken within you. So you still have magic. That's how aberrant mind works, but you can become so attuned to the aberrant mind that you stop using spell slots because your mind is actually starting to become the catalyst that you want it to be. That's
Kind of like mind players.
yes, exactly. That's something
Mind flayer midget.
That's something, as a side note, I like about sorcerers, because it's implied that sorcerers, while you may be born with a magic, not all sorcerers are born with their magic. Sometimes it's unlocked later in life, and like the magic awakens within you, or there's some sort of event that starts your process to become more magical. But here, let's go ahead and just we went off a bit of a tangent. D&D, I like the fact that it's more flexible, but let's take a look at this once again. Languages. It's always common in one other language that you and the DM agree is appropriate. For Dragonborn, it's going to be pretty obvious. It's probably going to be Draconic, and the creature type is usually based off of what you're working with here. So, now let's go ahead and take a look at what they've done to our boys. What have they done to our Dragonborns? They have now given them sub-races. You now have Chromatic, Metallic, and Gem. Starting with the originals and going on to the new one last. Chromatic Dragonborn. We got your humanoid creature type. We got your medium-sized speed. We got your 30-foot walking speed. And your chromatic ancestry that we're all familiar with. Black for acid, blue for lightning, green for poison, red for fire, and white for cold. And along with that, you get a breath weapon that is aligned with your chromatic ancestry. Whereas chromatic dragons are all focused on lion breaths. So their breaths are long and thin, being 30 foot long and 5 feet wide. And same thing before. The DC would be determined by 8. Plus your Constitution modifier, plus your proficiency. But the biggest change that we have seen right now is this right here. When you take the attack action, you can now replace one of your attacks with your breath weapon. That is a huge thing, because now we have this idea of all these people who have been wanting to play this like multi-attack hitters who aren't your spellcasting Dragonborn, they like the idea of a breath weapon, but they don't use it as much because it just takes a full action, and that's a big thing. And on top of this, it's like it would take up a full action, and it would only recover on long rest. So it was almost like you would never use it unless it was like, I never use this ability. Let me just.
Yeah, I don't remember Nixius in our last campaign like ever using his breath weapon.
No.
Exactly.
Never.
None of the Dragonborn ever used their breath weapon because it wasn't as flavorful as doing a multi-attack.
So
Now it feels more natural because it's like sword attack, breath weapon.
Yeah, here, hold on. I was hearing Hive. Go ahead and bring a point. What's up?
Well, I was pointing out the same thing. Yeah, he never used it because it wasn't just like, well, it was like 5d8 with the level we are at 17.
Well, here it's a creature takes 2d8, and the way it here it is. It's still right here. It's 2d8 at base. It goes to 3d8 at 5th level, 4d8 at 11th, and 5d8s at 17th level.
Yeah.
And so it's like, mix that in, right? Especially if like, oh no, let's say he wasn't given an antimatter rifle and he was actually using the guns that he had equipped. The guns would either outrange his breath weapon still, or for the most part, he had the ability to just fire off so many of them because he had the reload property on them.
Yeah.
Let's see.
So question.
What's up?
So you couldn't use your breath as another attack in the previous edition?
So currently, right now, here's another good thing to know about Unearthed Arcana. Unearthed Arcana is D&D beta, so it's what they use. They throw this out, and on top of throwing it out, they also promote a survey that people can fill out, so that way when enough people fill out the surveys after playtesting, they take the surveys into account, and when they release this into an official book, it is tweaked around so that way people are so that way it's as balanced as it can possibly be.
Yeah, it's.
I need them to release this tomorrow, so.
Right.
You know.
It's the player test build, essentially.
In case you guys are wondering, usually D&D Beyond, it takes them a week after the Unearthed Arcana is released, so don't expect this on your character build today, but you can definitely theorize with it in your own like paper and pencil character build. But here, go ahead and continue. Chromatic Dragons have your Draconic Resistance, and now here we go, the unique thing, Chromatic Warding. Sorry about that. Starting at 3rd level as an action, you can now channel your Draconic energies to protect yourself. For 10 minutes, you become immune to the damage type associated with your Chromatic ancestry.
Let's go. 10 minutes is so long.
Yeah.
So,
Holy shit, that's 100 fucking rounds of combat.
Exactly.
Yeah.
1 minute, and if every round is 6 seconds, and thus that means an entire minute is 10 rounds. So 10 minutes is 100 rounds of immunity to a damage type. This means, by the way, that a red Dragonborn can activate their Chromatic Warding and swim through lava now. Let that settle.
Jesus fucking Christ.
To be honest,
I
that
always
sounds a
found
little
it odd.
too
What
much.
I'm thinking, no, really.
I always found it odd that dragons of certain types weren't immune to what they basically could do. Because like if they did like something wrong, they would end up probably hurting themselves. Like saying like a blue dragon say rolled like a nat 1 and you had like a weird DM who like if you would like punish you for getting nat 1s by like saying, oh, you hit yourself.
Yeah.
You would end up getting hurt by your own attack. So
Yes.
it's weird.
How do I put this? I used to do that. It used to be kind of the easiest thing where like DMs who are probably starting off would default to, oh, it's a nat 1, you hate yourself, because that sounds like a more punishing way to add a little bit of flavor. But then, it kind of changed where I went from you hate yourself to you hit an ally to now I kind of just you give an opportunity attack. Notice the key part. I went from a guaranteed hit that would hurt yourself, so it's like, okay, I'm hurting myself. A guaranteed hit that be on your allies, which means your ally might be dropped by that. And now I do an opportunity attack. This means that I've now made it that the enemy uses their reaction, if they wish, and they still have a chance to miss, because any disadvantages that have been applied to them will still continue on to this opportunity attack. And, not to tug at my own horn here, but I think that an opportunity attacks are usually hard to come by, especially if you're in a melee combat. If you're already in melee range as a melee combatant, you're like set there. So getting that nat 1 gives the enemy more opportunities to use their reaction, and thus improves upon the combat's action economy overall.
What are
And Rogue had a
reactions?
question that I don't know the answer to in
Oh, yeah.
chat.
Let me go ahead and see this. Let's see. I heard the only race you can that could realistically use haste was the elf because it would cost you 2 years of your life. Is this coming on the new book? Okay. Answering the first one, that's I wouldn't be surprised if that was a thing that elves would be normally use haste, because that would mean that, you know, elves with their long lifespans would probably get down to a normal human's years if they used it too much. But probably not the next immediate book. Usually when an Unearthed Arcana comes out, if there's already a book announced, it's not coming in that, because that book that's announced already has like a table of contents that's ready to go. So I want to say the new book, take its announcement date and take any Unearthed Arcana that was between the previous book and the announcement date, and that's probably what is going to be the theme of the new book. So I wouldn't be surprised if we're getting a Feywild thing, because I don't. Is there a new book announced for D&D Beyond? Oh, sorry, Wizards.
I was looking, I didn't see.
I would assume the like the Reborn and stuff like that, because I think that came out first, no?
Well, the Reborn stuff just came out in the hold on. The Ravenloft book isn't out yet, right?
Not yet. It's in
no, I
May
don't think
13th.
so.
Yes.
But
Okay.
like the thing is, a lot of the like, you know, the stuff that's currently in the UA, like the Hobgoblin of the Feywild, fairies and stuff like that, that all seem the rabbit folk even, it all comes from the Feywild.
Right. It usually makes it into the book. I wouldn't be since there is no new book announced, I wouldn't be surprised if the Chromatic Dragon, if this whole like chromatic, metallic, and gem stuff and all these new Draconic options are going to be in that one, because currently all we have to go off of is Feywild stuff. That's all we have in Unearthed Arcana at the moment. So by adding new Draconic options, I wouldn't be surprised if the new book focuses on like, here's the spooky and scary stuff, now here's the mystical stuff and like the magical stuff. You know, that's why gem dragons are kind of like are probably going to be circulating back, because now's the perfect opportunity to, we're talking Feywild, let's bring something else colorful to the table. Let's bring gem dragons into the table.
Yeah, I could see like for, you know, this Ravenloft book, the Dampier, Hexblood, and Reborn popping into that.
No, they're guaranteed to be in this. Right here, new character lineages.
Oh, okay, I didn't read that part.
Yeah. On top of this, the College of Spirits and the Undead Pact, let's see, for Warlock are now officially coming out in this book. So College of Spirits is probably
so good.
Yes.
I fucking love it.
College of Spirits is probably going to be having its official release, meaning that there might be changes to what it's currently in based off of what is either too weak or too strong. Go ahead, Moon.
Well, I'm sorry, just a lot of information is hitting me kind of fast. I haven't been keeping up too much.
Luckily enough, on D&D Beyond is the resource that we use as players, because it is an online data source that I think is their partner. I know they're partnered with Twitch, but I think they're also partnered with Wizards of the Coast. That's how they're able to officially release all this content.
Yeah.
And so this is all the physical stuff sold online for actually half the price of the physical one. So, you know, where Von Richten's is $30 to buy it digitally, the official book is probably like $60, maybe even $50, just because you're buying a hardcover. It's nice and beautifully printed. There are more resources used to make a physical copy than there are a digital copy.
Dude, I'm going crazy right now. I'm just like,
I know.
you Dragonborn fighters are like in.
Right, Dragonborn fighters are going to be in. I know Dragonborn paladins are already a thing, because Dragonborn innately get like charisma and stuff. But actually, hold on. This is something I'm trying to see here. Draconic.
You could play as a Ravenite Dragonborn, which is the more fighter-like.
You could. Oh no, you could. Was it?
Oh yeah.
You can do. Take this now. Okay, here's a really cool idea, right? Whichever Dragonborn you wish, Dragonborn, Draco Ranger, So it's like
Rico.
here's my Dragonborn where I have my breath weapon, and here's my pet Drake that has his own breath weapon. So together you both are like a Pokemon team where it's like, Gah!
Oh, like I could see that like in combat where you like if you got it in like perfect position of both sides,
Mhm.
since it's a cone range, it can try a certain like probably a square.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
about maybe 15 or 10 meters
Mhm.
around.
And so you could totally do this thing where, as a side note, I really, me and Skittles were talking about earlier today. What class would you probably play last? And I think for me it was, did I answer that, babe, or no? I'm trying to remember. I think my answer was cleric. Yeah. As much as clerics are fun, and I like their really big pool of spell casting. I'd play a lot of other classes before that. I like how stupid barbarians can be. I like fighters. And I also really like rangers. Rangers don't get enough love. I feel like they get shat on because of their how they were handed, like they were given a bad hand at the beginning of 5e. But with the new stuff that's come out and a lot of the new subclasses, Ranger is such a nice addition into this entire edition.
Ranger is pretty, it's a lot cooler now than it was, like when I played as a kid. It was like the most boring shit ever then.
To be honest, like there is one class that I don't think I'll ever touch unless like I find something super interesting, and that might be Druid.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But here, okay, so this is what I was wondering. Dragonborn used to be that it was +2 to charisma and +1 to strength. And obviously with this Draconic Races, they're trying to once again focus on that whole +2 to anyone. But for now, let's go ahead and that's Chromatic. Chromatic is really cool. And now Metallic. Same thing. Humanoids, medium, 30-foot walking speed, metallic ancestry. So instead of chromatics, you have metals. But these are still the same damage types that we're looking at before. Brass is fire, bronze is lightning, copper is acid, gold is fire, and silver is cold. I think the only one that's missing here is poison, because metallic dragons can't do poison. That's like a green dragon exclusive thing. And breath weapon, whereas chromatic dragons were focused on a 30-foot line that's 5 feet wide, all metallic dragons are a 15-foot cone instead. It's pretty good. Same thing, damage type scales up. You pick your damage type, you have resistance to that. But here is now the metallic breath weapon. At 3rd level, you gain a 2nd breath weapon. When you take the attack action, you can replace one of your attacks with an exhalation of the magic gas. Let's see. Here we go. You can pick one of these two options. Same thing, DC is 8 with proficiency and con modifier. Either every creature in the area must succeed on a strength throw or be pushed 20 feet away from you and be knocked prone, or each creature in the area must succeed on a con save or become incapacitated until the start of your next turn. That is so nuts.
That's
crazy cuckoo.
awesome.
bananas.
Yeah, when I read the second option, I thought that was really good because if you can get multiple people, that's multiple people down already. That cannot move.
Yeah, that's multiple people down that cannot take an action or reaction, which means that you've given your entire party almost like a surprise round, right? Because like the surprise round is like technically they can't take actions or reactions until their turn comes up, but incapacitated does the same thing. So the metallic breath weapon is just like, hey guys, surprise round 2.
If they're incapacitated, remind me real quick. And you're attacking, like if you're attacking an incapacitated target, do you get advantage?
No. So incapacitated strictly is just they can't take actions, they can't take reactions. If we take a look at conditions, let's see. Incapacitated.
I'm thinking of prone, aren't I?
No, well, there's a few of them. Stunned is definitely one that gives you advantage against them. And on top of this, when you're stunned, you're also considered incapacitated at the same time.
Fair enough.
Yeah. But incapacitated is the only one of these that actually doesn't have an image, because there's so many ways to represent incapacitated, and I love all the images that they use for the conditions.
Oh yeah, they're really. I love D&D art. It's always really incredible.
Mm-hmm. But here's another thing that I think is gonna be really cool to notice about this. So let's say you are let's say you're a ranger boy and you take Metallic Dragon, right? And rangers eventually get the they can attack twice with extra action. Notice how because Metallic Breath Weapon and your standard Breath Weapon can replace an attack roll, you can have an entire turn that is both your Metallic and your regular Breath Weapon. So, you would probably do this. You do Metallic Breath first, make them incapacitated so they can't take a reaction or action. You would then do your regular Breath Weapon. Granted, they don't auto-fail their dex save, but at least it's nice to know that you got the condition on them first. And then you do your Breath Weapon, there's some free damage, and then as a bonus action, I command my little Draco boy to also go in and do some extra damage with their Breath Weapon. So it's a triple Breath Weapon combo. That's nuts. Oh, I fucking love that so much.
I'm thinking about Battlemaster because don't like prone like enemies. Do they have disadvantage on dexterity saves?
I think.
So here, prone. I have the conditions up here. Prone specifically states. Here we go. Creature's only movement option is to crawl unless they use half their movement speed to get up. Creature has disadvantage on attack rolls, and an attack roll against the creature has advantage if the attacker is within 5 feet of it. Otherwise, the attack roll has disadvantage. It's to indicate like people. So as a player, by the way, you guys can optionally go prone, and you would probably do that if you're like, there's a sniper up ahead. Let's drop prone and crawl our way to him, so that way he has a harder time hitting us.
Yeah,
Dragonborn Battlemaster is literally the definition of being just bullying someone. Like what the?
Boiling alive.
Especially
you're just
if
the biggest bully in the world.
Not only that, but if you add on a Ravenite Dragonborn to that idea, like even like. Not only do you get to bully them around, but anytime they hit you, you can use your reaction to slap them back.
Yeah. Okay.
So I think like that 1 point, like 3 different stats makes it easier to like multi-class now. I feel.
Yeah, because if we go based off of like the point buy system, that's usually that. This is also a good thing to know. The point buy system is probably the best way to figure out, like on average, what people can do, other than just taking the standard array.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, you have this many points, and so regardless of whatever you do, you can never go beyond 15, I believe. So when you get a +1 to everything, it's like, okay, I can give a +1 to my 15, I can give a +1 to my 13, and I can give a +1 to my 11. Meaning I can take those 3 modifiers and immediately bump them up to the next level or so forth. That was always really cool. And then, of course, that's not including any ability score improvements you get throughout your levels. So this is pretty nice overall. But I think we're all ready for this. It's time to go over Gem Dragonborn. Okay.
Let's go.
You are a humanoid. You are medium. You have a 30-foot walking speed. Your gem ancestry. And now here are the 5 gem types. Amethyst, Crystal, Emerald, Sapphire, and Topaz. And the associated damage type. Amethyst dragons do force damage. Crystal dragons do radiant damage. Emerald dragons are psychic damage. Sapphire dragons are thunder damage. And Topaz dragons are necrotic damage.
I just wanna ask, what does psychic breath look like?
Here. Let's go ahead and pull this up, right? So it's an emerald
Hit you with my hot breath.
Dragon.
Now you're annoyed. Take psychic damage. My breath is stinky. You take psychic damage.
Well, first off, emerald dragons look. All of these are like art renditions, and emerald. All the gem dragons used to be things in like previous editions. But I'd like to imagine that like, there's got to be some sort of like visual effect to the psychic thing, like
like brainwaves.
Oh, hold on. Oh, like a Pokemon psychic attack.
Oh, like a confused ray or.
Right. Like there's always like some sort of like weird like little like warping effect that's happening all over the place.
Yeah.
I would assume it would kind of like. So hold on, the psychic breath weapon for Emerald Dragons is it a cone or a line?
So here, this is also a good thing to know. All gem dragons are cone based.
Okay, so since it's a cone, I would assume that like generally anything inside the cone for a psychic damage breath weapon would just like get to see the world warp around them
Yeah.
like horrendously.
That's what I was about to say. Like
Like
imagine
a ripple effect or something like that.
almost, but like
Like-
imagine if you're the only person. Like let's say you're the only party member who's in the cone. You're the only one who sees the warp, like the world warp around you. Where all your party mates are like, "Is he okay?"
No, but
Yeah, like-
I would imagine that if you're in the cone, it like you can see it warp, but it's like, and it's like worse than when you're outside
Yeah.
the cone. Because when you're outside the cone,
Oh,
you can
yeah, like,
slightly see it warp still,
Mhm.
but it's not
Yeah,
as
like
bad
a- like
as
a
if you
heat
were in
wave.
it. Yes.
Mm.
like a heat wave coming off the concrete from
Yeah.
outside, but inside, like the world is just bending and
It's
breaking.
totally
You know, like
Right.
those like sheets of metal or plastic that make that weird like wiggling sound. That's all I can think about when I hear it. Like,
or when you're in the cone, you get like vertigo.
Yeah.
It just
Oh,
spins
yeah.
Oh,
around.
hold
my
on.
gosh.
You guys, I think this comes with being vertical, but have you guys, like, when you guys get up too fast and the world all of a
Yeah.
sudden has, like, this tint of green?
I broke a fucking shower standing up too fast once.
what the fuck?
Don't ask, it's a long story.
Oh, here.
But I broke a
So-
shower like that.
So here, this is really cool to know because, you know, Emerald, the Psychic Breath is really cool. And I think what's interesting, this is what came to my mind. So, how interesting that Topaz, of all of them, is the one that's necrotic damage, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
that's
so-
really
It's like
weird.
an orangish, like amber color.
Well, now
Yeah.
imagine Dark Topaz. Like, this is like this, but as like a breath weapon that's just coming out of the Topaz Dragon.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, this is totally the look of necrotic damage if I were to put it.
Honestly, I would have
I've always thought of it
that
as like
the,
green.
I would have thought the Crystal Dragon would have had the force damage instead of Radiant.
Well, here, let's see as well. No, the Crystal Dragon, like, well, you know, if I type Crystal, I don't know if there's just a, yeah, Crystal's just Crystal. So the idea that Radiant damage, you know, I think people will, without visual descriptions, people are probably going to assume that the Crystal Dragon does Radiant because it's a prism.
Yeah. Also, I feel like crystals
Yeah, I
can be
could
very
see
gaudy
that.
depending on how you use them to like.
The
decorate and
Dragonborn
stuff.
just opens his mouth and the hand of God comes out and smacks him.
Oh my God.
No, but yeah,
Yeah.
the radiant damage. Now this one is the one I totally see as like when it breathes, it's an actual like rainbow effect because light, you know, light when it's distorted like becomes like the whole rainbow effect when it goes through a prism. So you're just like, ah!
Well, like, I mean, where I'm coming from, what I imagined is like a crystal dragon opens its, you know, its mouth for its breath weapon, and like, you ever done those like grow your own crystal things?
I've not actually.
I've heard of them, but I've never done it.
If you've ever seen like a video of like a time lapse of grow your own crystals or whatever, I would assume it kind of looks like a super sped up version of crystals growing everywhere and then exploding for force damage. That's kind of what I imagined for, you know, like a crystal dragon going on.
Let's see. All right. I'm trying to also look into like the way the amethyst, because if the amethyst is supposed to be force, it's probably just like a wave of like purple energy that cracks the ground when it damages it. Because force is like, we have Baldur's Gate now to kind of help us know what Eldritch Blast looks like, where it's just like a right, almost like a plasmic crack of lightning that is not lightning, it's force. So I'd imagine
Yeah,
the amethyst would be that to a purple effect that is over everything. Sapphire. Sorry, go for it.
I've always thought like Eldritch Blast, like it, like the look of it depends on like what your patron is.
That's actually really cool. Hold on, let me go ahead and.
Yeah, I always enjoyed like the ability to, you know, customize just through flavor text how your spells kind of
Yeah.
look.
Like if you were like a Hexblade, like that's like stuff from like the Shadowfell, right? I feel like it'd be like some kind of like weird like blackish goopy energy.
Right.
Yeah, like wispy shadows.
Right here.
Yeah.
launched.
This right here, what I have out. This is what I'd this is probably what the Amethyst Dragon's like breath looks like, or even this. You know.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
I could see that.
Let's see. we have the Sapphire Dragon, which is thunder, which that's pretty easy to know because thunder is just sound, so it's supersonic. It's a supersonic cone. Ow!
It's like the earthquake devil fruit you had in the last campaign.
Yeah. All right, let's see.
The way that it would look, I'd assume.
So Force, Radiant, Psychic, Thunder, Necrotic. All right, so now that we've gone over, like, I guess our theory about how they'll look, we'll probably hear more about them in the future. But for now, Breath Weapon, of course, you're going to get a 15-foot cone, 8 plus your con plus proficiency, and it goes from 2d8 scaling up to 5d8s. Draconic Resistance, you're resistant to the damage type. It's pretty nice to have this, because now, I'm going to present this to you guys. A Emerald Dragonborn Barbarian, Path of the Totem, Bear Totem. You now have Path of the Totem Barbarian. When you take Bear, is resistant to everything but Psychic, and now you have an Emerald Dragonborn that has Psychic resistance. Green with it.
Basically, just resistant to everything.
Yes.
Can I ask about like the psychic stuff? Because I didn't think that was a attack type.
Yes, Psychic is mental damage. So it makes sense why Barbarians, when they take that subclass, why Psychic is the only thing that they're not resistant to, because that's like, Barbarians are typically not known for their mental fortitude more than their just overall brute strength.
Yeah.
But, take this out. Here are two things, which is why the Gem Dragon is probably going to be still the most popular pick amongst these three. And that's because it gets two abilities, Psionic Mind and Gem Flight. Starting with Psionic Mind, you can telepathically speak to any creature you can see within 30 feet of you. You don't need to share a language with the creature, but the creature must be able to understand at least one language. Your communication does not give the creature the ability to respond to you telepathically. So it's a one-way like message.
Yeah.
And lastly, Gem Flight. Starting at 3rd level, you can use your bonus action to temporarily summon an array of spectral gems that match your gem ancestry in the shape of wings that last for 1 minute. For the duration, you get a flying speed equal to your walking speed and can hover. And once you use this trait, just like the other breath types, you can't use it again until a long rest. And now we have to do Gem Wings.
That's so nice. Everyone could be fabulous as long as you're a Dragonborn.
Yeah.
Right? Also, hold on. Now I'm thinking of Tarek the Gem Knight. Hold on. These are just his spectral wings. He's a fucking he's a gem dragon who just who uses disguise self.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, that's gonna be great.
And the cool thing is that now there's another race that's also resistant to Psychic.
Mm. We don't have a lot of those, and usually when we usually do get those, it gives DMs more to work. It gives DMs more to work with because Psychic is like one of those damage types. Actually, you know what? Here, let me present to you this. It is so rare to have something that's resistant to Force. That is so rare to have in general because Force is like, haha, the one thing no one is very few that has the fewest amount of resistances is Force. I'm an Amethyst Dragon.
God, that's so cheeky.
Yeah. All right. And of course, we can't talk about Draconic options without kobolds. Some of the smallest Draconic creatures to walk the earth, kobolds. Usually kobolds, when you see a kobold, it's because they're usually some sort of like cultist, some slave, or just someone who's working for like a big dragon, because that's like the kobold thing, right? To serve the dragons. And so you're considered humanoid, small, 30 feet walking speed, 60 feet dark vision, and now Draconic Legacy, and how cute, the kobold gets a roar. So, Draconic Legacy. The kobold connection to dragons can manifest in unpredictable ways in an individual kobold. Choose one of the following legacies. You can either have advantage on saving throws to avoid or end the frightened condition. You can know one cantrip of your choice from the sorcerer spell list. Intelligence, Wisdom, or Charisma is your choice when you select it. And you can make an unarmed strike with your tail. When you hit with it, the strike is 1d6 plus your strength modifier, bludgeoning damage, instead of bludgeoning damage normal for an unarmed strike. Which means this is the only race that has a tail attack outside of like a subclass. I don't think lizardfolk have it. Tieflings definitely don't. Tabaxi definitely don't. Is Kobold gonna be the only? Yeah, I think Kobold's gonna be the only race that gets this going for them. Let's see. Because what races
I
actually
can't-
have tails?
I mean,
Tiefling and Dragonborn, but
I
it's already been
don't think
stated that-
anyone has it because I
Yeah,
think the
they're
only way
called-
people would get a tail attack is through a subclass.
Yeah, and it's through like
Oh,
Barbarian.
Wanty,
Yeah.
not like an actual snake. You want.
There's like those shifters. I
Mhm.
think one of their races gets it, but I'm not sure.
Let's see, shifter.
it might be shifter. Yeah.
Let me go ahead and pull it up. I'm just gonna type tail in this. Nope, shifters do not have any tail attacks. So yeah, kobold.
That's-
There we go. A reason to pick kobolds, everyone. You can now finally have a tail attack, which means my hands are bound, but that they bind my tail. DM. Nope. Ha 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 ha. All right. And on top of this, Draconic Roar. As a bonus action, you let out a Draconic Roar at your enemies within 10 feet of you. Until the end of your next turn, you and your allies have advantage on attack rolls against any of those enemies who could hear the roar. You can use this trait a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus, and you gain all expended uses on a long rest. All
That
right,
is so good.
two things which is why this is really strong. One, there is no saving throw against this. It's just automatic. Two, all allies, meaning that even your ranger who's off into the distance gets advantage on the people against you so long as they're within 10 feet of you. AKA, do the roar.
I do like how they flavored it because they say your roar is based on an emotion. So if it's fear, it's not you causing fear; it's you roaring that you are afraid.
Is that it? Let's see.
I think that's one of the little like flavored things for it because it's a kobold, so they're always afraid.
Oh, here we go. Yeah, the roar of a kobold can express a range of emotions: anger, resolve, elation, fear, and more. Regardless of the emotion the kobold expresses, the roar resonates with their draconic power. So it could be like your very rage, your resolve, your joy is scaring them. Like, what the fuck is wrong with this kobold? Ah!
This kobold's going crazy.
God, I so want to play a fucking kobold.
Oh,
Man. They're
that's-
such little shits.
Guys, what was it? The fucking Endeavor shouting Shoto is just the kobold doing his roar. Ah, Shoto! That's fucking great.
Fuck Endeavor. Endeavor is a shit person. PSA.
So, here we go. There's a few more things to add on top of these races. So we have 3 new feats that look like they're gonna be tied to the Dragonborn
Ooh,
stuff.
new feats?
So first, Gift of the Chromatic Dragon. You've manifested some of the power of Chromatic Dragons, granting you the following benefits. Okay, so this is interesting. These actually aren't tied to the dragons. So, as a bonus action, you can touch a simple or martial weapon and infuse it with one of the following damage types, aka Acid, Cold, Fire, Lightning, Poison. For the next minute, the weapon deals an extra 1d4 damage type. After you use this ability, you can't do so again until you finish a long rest. And when you take Acid, Cold, Fire, Lightning, or Poison, you can use your reaction to give yourself resistance to the instance. You can use your reaction a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus. How interesting. Okay. Gifts of the Metallic Dragon. You learn the Cure Wounds spell. You can cast this spell without expending a spell slot, and once you cast the spell this way, you can't do so again until you finish a long rest. You can also cast the spell using spell slots you have, and you choose either any of the 3, casting types: Intelligence, Wisdom, or Charisma. And lastly, you manifest protective wings that can shield you or others from attacks. When you or another creature you can see within 5 feet of you is hit by an attack roll, you can use your reaction to manifest spectral wings from your back for a moment. Roll a d4 and grant a bonus to the target's AC to the number rolled against the attack roll, potentially causing it to miss. You can use this reaction a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus and get all expended uses when you finish a long rest. And wait, I'm going to go ahead and do the gem one last just before we go over them. And lastly, Gift of the Gem Dragon. This is pretty cool. You get a +1 to either Intelligence, Wisdom, or Charisma, your choice, up to a maximum of 20. And when you take damage from a creature that is within 10 feet of you, you can use your reaction to emanate telekinetic energy. The creature that dealt damage must succeed on a strength save, 8 plus proficiency bonus plus the ability that you improved when you get this feat, or take 2d8 force and be pushed 10 feet away from you. You can use your reaction a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus and gain all expended uses when you finish a long rest. Okay. Right off the bat, I can already say Metallic Dragon is by far probably the strongest one, just in my opinion. I think now, okay. Dragonborn Paladin was already kind of a thing. But now imagine a Dragonborn Paladin who really is focused on being the shield for the party and can use these metallic wings to sprout one to cover his ally. And like this whole Cure Wounds, you're giving this cleric / paladin the ability to cure wounds an extra time now. And if it's a cleric, This means it's a Cure Wounds that's at first level for free. Life Cleric. This means it's a +7 to this Cure Wounds plus whatever your modifier already is for Cure Wounds.
Oh, that is
Sheesh.
awesome.
Yeah.
That's.
Oh man, a gold dragonborn cleric that prays to like the life god, the god of life.
That right there is the super healer.
Yeah. All right. And on top of this, don't forget the fact is this metallic dragonborn also has the ability to incapacitate the enemy. So it's like now this whole hey everyone let's get the surprise round. I'm gonna replace one of my attack actions with this breath, and by the time the start of my next turn comes, that means I guaranteed my allies weren't attacked, and I'm able to now use my turn to do this free Cure Wounds because I chose this feat at level 4.
Jesus, that is so much.
What do you guys think of the other two though? The chromatic and the gem one.
I don't know if I really like the chromatic one that much.
Mhm.
The damage isn't really all that,
Right.
and like the resistance is cool, but like you don't really get to use it that much.
Because what? When it hits. Actually, I'm trying to see. Okay, for the next minute.
It equal times to your proficiency bonus.
Yeah, and on top of this, for a minute you get an extra D4. But notice this, it's not concentration. So, a simple martial weapon. I'm going to take this and now pulling from once again one of my favorite classes. Let's take a ranger. Let's make it a Chromatic Dragon Ranger. They're now and Rangers are all about applying buffs and doing their concentration. I now have this arrow that is infused with my element type. And I can do a bonus action to, let's say, do Hunter's Mark to add an extra D6. There's just a lot of dice that are being thrown this way.
Oh, God.
Or...
and especially if you go with the Dragon Warden, because as a reaction, your dragon can give you its element to add on to your attack.
Yeah. You take Drake Warden, you take Hunter's Mark, and you get the Chromatic Dragon. Your Drake Warden's near the enemy. You do this, infuse yourself for a D4. You get the extra D6 from Hunter's Mark, and your Drake uses its reaction to add an extra D6 of its own element type to it. So you're just throwing a lot of dice at someone, and it's like think of it like your Drake being like, "I'm here. This is the person you wanted me to be next to, right?" Yep. As the arrow goes passing through their aura, it gets infused with the next element type. So you're like firing like 1, 2 the base damage type. It's already spinning with fire, and because your dragon is acid, it's now a fire and acid spinning arrow.
Jesus.
Or you're a rogue, and you have sneak attack damage with that, plus doing this.
Yeah, it's just
and then
just
sneak
a lot,
attack can
again,
be
a lot of
several
Yeah.
fucking D6 of damage.
as much as this could have been something that adds like maybe even a D6, but that like I would say in the survey I would bump this up to maybe a D6, but that's really stretching it because a D6 on top of all other buffs is a lot. So this D4 is pretty nice, and that's not taking into account that when you crit, this could be between 2 to 8 points of damage.
I feel like maybe the damage could go up depending on the level. I don't know.
Maybe. That's something I can see. I think the fact I think what's compensating for that is the fact that this is one of those things where unlike the breath weapons, you can use this at most 2 times a day at level 4, 3 times a day at level 5, and so forth and so forth.
Yeah.
And like, you know, a minute is almost the entire combat.
Yeah, the other thing is like, you know, if the damage scales as well with like your character's level, there's a lot of characters that using that as well as like character abilities that they gain at certain levels, on top of the fact that chances are they're getting better and better weapons, like I'm not gonna lie, that feels a little busted.
And if they were to do a scaling damage, there's always 2 ways to approach scaling damage. Either increase the dice size or increase the number of dice thrown.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I still feel like that's a whole lot of damage for just one character to be doing.
I mean,
that would be cool on like a 1-player campaign, but I feel like that's a way for just one person to become a bit
Yeah.
too powerful.
And now, strangely enough, I think what's the one of the feat that I'm not liking the most is ironically the gem one, right? Because the gem one is just it's a reaction force push that they have to save against, and it improves a stat by 1.
I think
It's
it
not
would
my
be
favorite.
better if it wasn't like a save. It was just it pushes them away.
No, because
Well, the thing is, there's already a feat for that called telekinetic.
Yeah, and even then, telekinetic still has to like make a save. So regardless, if you're forcing a creature to like be moved away, there needs to be a save against it, because the only ability, from what I understand, there's an ability in this game that does like pushing and pulling that doesn't require a save, and that's the Eldritch Blast thing. But that's taking up an invocation.
Yeah.
I think that there's also one of those, one of the new like schools of magic for wizard from.
It's the
Critical Role.
It's the
gravity
gravity one. It's the gravity one, but
Yeah,
that
the
one also requires saves.
Yeah.
Doesn't it require like a super high save though? It's been a while since I've went over.
The save is depending on your spell's save DC though, so that makes sense. All right, and now let's go ahead, and we have quite a few spells that are added to this list. We have 2 2nd level spells, a 3rd level, a 4th, a 5th, a 6th, and a 7th level spell.
Whoa.
On top of this, taking a look at this, it looks like the 7th level spell is only for druids, sorcerers, and wizards, and the 6th level is also only for druid, sorcerer, wizard.
Is that the Grim Reaper?
I'm in Draconic Spirit. Holy
There's
shit.
2 that get to include Bard here, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, here. Let's go ahead and go by each of the spells one by one, and it looks like in alphabetical order. The first one is Draconic Transformation, a 7th level spell for druids, sorcerers, and wizards. It is a bonus action casting time. It is for yourself. It is V, S, and M, and now here's the key. Here's the kicker: a statue of a dragon worth at least 500 gold pieces.
Okay, who the fuck is looking around the statue of a dragon?
But now, yes, because it has a gold amount, it means you must have this statue.
God damn.
Because to be fair, you could have like a small like statue and it'd be really expensive, I guess.
Yeah, but 500 gold?
It's not that much.
When
you have 7th level spells, you're gonna have that much gold.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair to something like that, that does require.
Yeah. Here and as well, don't forget this as well, boys. It does not consume the statue on use, so you can keep repeatedly using this.
So,
very nice.
You just basically buy it once. And
so you just turn into a dragon?
Yes, and on top of this, take a look at this. With a roar, you draw on the magic of dragons to transform yourselves, taking on various draconic features. I like this already because that bit of flavor text with a roar is so nice to know that you're like, whatever race you are, you like exhale this huge draconic roar that like causes your body to stretch and form into the dragon, right? You have blind sight with a range of 30 feet. Within that range, you can effectively see anything that isn't behind total cover, even if you're blinded or in darkness. Moreover, you can see invisible creatures unless the creature successfully hides from you. 2. Incorporeal wings sprout from your back and give you a flying speed of 40 feet. And 3. When you cast this spell, as a bonus action on subsequent turns for the duration, you can exhale a breath of shimmering energy in a 30-foot cone. Each creature in the area makes a dex save or takes 3d8 force damage. Okay. First off, the blind sight. That's nice. It's nice to know you have blind sight. It's like, you're not transforming into a dragon because this isn't giving you, like, the stats of one. Nor is this, like, actually changing your stat type. But it's, you now have blind sight. So you're, like, effectively, you know, better in darkness and even in magical darkness. 2. Flying speed. Hell yeah. That's fucking neat. A creature with blind sight and flying speed, I don't know how many there are. I would have to, like, sort through it. Because that's a weird combination to be running through, right? Blind sight and flying.
I'm also a firm believer that a druid needs more high-level spells.
Yes.
Because most of them aren't that exciting, even though they are useful.
Let me see something. Senses. All right, blind sight. Let's see how many creatures. Okay, 5 pages worth of it, and it's like dragons as well.
Mostly dragons.
It's mostly dragons and abyssal chicken for some reason.
Bissell chicken. You.
Thank you. Sorry.
Yeah, right now we're
Supposed to
doing
have
your bed made
I know.
by a shirt.
Yeah.
I'm leaving
Alright.
to go see Grandma.
That'd be interesting. Be a druid, turn into a rabbit, then turn into a dragon.
All right, there you go. Sorry about that. Yeah, abyssal chicken. Okay, a little weird. Ancient deep crow, animated knife. Okay, yeah. So dragons take up like what we'd expect on this list to get this ability, but there's like other things. Brain in a jar has flying speed. A bat, that makes sense. Kazme, those are demons and stuff. Okay, so there's a bit of things that have this weird combination, but regardless, 40 feet flying speed, blindside out to 30 feet, and here's what I think is really cool. You have a bonus action breath attack that can be used once per turn. This isn't once per long rest. This isn't once per casting the spell. And this isn't a recharge. You are just guaranteed a 3d8 force breath weapon every turn as a bonus action.
God damn.
So you're just, go, 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 go. Alright.
Every 6 seconds.
Yes.
Jesus.
Alright, let's see. Here we go. A named spell. So there's probably going to be a variant of this that's just called Platinum Shield. But Fizzband's Platinum Shield. It's an action casting time, a range of 60 feet, V, S, and M, and a platinum-plated dragon scale worth at least 500 gold pieces. That's hard to find.
Where the fuck are you gonna find that?
What the fuck?
Yeah,
How rare? Wait,
that
how rare
really
is that?
Repeat that again? A platinum dragon scale?
Yes, platinum dragons. There is only one platinum dragon, guys, and that is the dragon god himself, Bahamut.
Hey, bro, can I
What
get a
the
skill,
fuck?
please?
Wait, Bahamut's in it?
It's a platinum plated dragon scale.
Yes, that is actually a key thing to know as well, too. All right, and it's a concentration up to a minute, so we're looking at another concentration spell. You create a field of silvery light that surrounds a creature of your choice within range of 60 feet. You can choose yourself. The field sheds dim light out to 5 feet. Okay, so it's like it's a 5 foot radius. I guess thing. You pick a creature, even yourself, and you have this 5 foot thing. As a bonus action on subsequent turns, you can move the field to another creature within 60 feet of the field. The creature protected by the field gets the following benefits. First, they have half cover. Okay, that's gross. 2, the creature has resistance to the element types: acid, cold, fire, lightning, and poison. And 3, if the creature is subjected to an effect that allows it to make a dex saving throw to take only half damage, a creature takes no damage on success and takes half as much on a fail. What the actual fuck?
God
You-
damn.
That sounds
What
actually
the
really
fuck?
good. That sounds really good.
You've given it's a spell that gives the evasion class feature. It is a spell that bumps your AC by however much half cover is. I think it's by 5 AC, and you have resistance to all element types.
What the fuck?
Oh my.
This is
This
only
is
for sorcerers and
freaking-
wizards, by the way.
Yeah.
No
Give
wonder
that to
no
Druid,
wonder we
come
need to
on.
get a really super rare scale from the king
All right.
of dragons.
Allow me to explain this to you. It can't be druid because platinum is involved, and druids
That's right.
can't do metal.
College of Lore looking pretty good, yo.
Yeah, right.
So
College of Lore can take this. Don't forget as well. This is a buff. The wizard can take this, put it on their paladin who's in the middle of the fight with the dragon, and just like, so here's your +5 AC. You have resistance to all this stuff. Oh, and you also have the ability to just do your dex save and just add that.
Is that the Grim Reaper? Oh my gosh. Just comes into the that's just death incarnate right
Yeah,
there.
it's so
Can't
nuts.
hurt that man. Can't
Wait,
hit him.
why do you keep saying
God.
that's Grim Reaper?
It's just a meme. It's
Yeah.
just,
So here,
And
Now,
okay.
maybe-
you know, aren't
You're
you
just,
happy
like,
that
God
homebrew
there.
ended before this spell came out?
I'm very glad about the homebrew edit. Yeah. Here we go. Okay. Flame. Hey, Stinky. What do you think you're doing, hot dog? Hon. I'm gonna go get her. She needs to be part of this now because she can't hold still. Hey there. No. Go here. I got it.
why is it recommending me House of the Dead?
Ah.
movie?
I'll deal with that. I'll deal with that later. Don't know what the package is for. Pretty sure it's something for work. All right. Here we go. We're hitting some of our lower level spells. So first off, here's one that has access to a lot of people, and it's an artificer spell as well. So Flame Stride. It is an artificer, ranger, sorcerer, and wizard spell. All of these, it's probably pretty obvious that all of them are going to be accessible by the sorcerers and wizards. But it's nice to know that artificers and rangers get some love with this spell. Let's see what it does. Okay, Flame Stride. The billowing flames. Oh, sorry. First, bonus action casting. It's targeting yourself. It only requires a verbal and somatic. Nice. And it's a concentration up to a minute. A billowing flame of a dragon covers your feet, granting you explosive speed. For the duration, your speed increases by 20 feet, and moving doesn't provoke opportunity attacks. Okay?
That sounds really cool.
When you move within 5 feet of a creature or object that isn't being worn or carried, it takes a d6 of fire damage from your trail of heat. A creature or object can take this damage only once during a turn. So you're the Flash.
Tabaxi artificers be like,
Oh my god.
Oh no!
I was gonna
You're the
say
DeLorean in Back to the
multi-class
Future.
with monk.
Yeah,
And-
Tabaxi Artificer with Monk, and let your wizard cast Haste on you.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's
God,
Flash.
that's horrendous.
my name's Barry Allen and I am the Flash.
I am the Flash.
And and on top of this spell can scale up. When you cast the spell using a spell slot of 4th level or higher, increase your speed by 5 feet for each spell slot above 3rd, and additionally, this spell deals an additional 1d6 fire damage for each spell slot above 3rd.
Yes.
God
Also, real quick, Nix wants to get in here.
Oh, let me go ahead and pull him in. There he is. It's our resident dragon lover.
Hello.
Yeah.
But hello. We are just going over the spells. We actually just talked about the new artificer. It's a spell that's actually for artificers, rangers, sorcerers, and wizards. Did you hear about it from the stream or no?
A little bit, yeah. The fucking flaming feet.
Yeah. So you literally have an increase of 20 feet to your movement. When you move within 5 feet of a creature, they take a d6 of fire damage. There's no saving throw for that, by the way, guys. And on top of this, for every spell level above 3rd, it's an extra 5 feet of movement and an extra d6 of fire damage. So, let's say you're playing a pure ranger, right? Pure rangers at most get, I think, 5th level spells, which means that at most this spell is improving your movement speed by 30 feet, and it does 3d6 fire damage when you pass by creatures. You take the Tabaxi Ranger, take them all the way up where they have 5th level spells, and then it's just zoom. I am now
I wonder who's
speed.
the Tabaxi Ranger.
Oh, and also take a look at this. It is a bonus action to cast this, meaning that you still have your primary action to dash, and you have your free action from the backseat to double dash.
Yo.
And let's say the wizard. I'm gonna cast Haste on my boy here. So we have it to back. So let's take this right. Casting this at max level is a plus 30 to your movement speed, which that's actually the most movement speed that a monk provides you. So I like that this is making it so if you do multi-class into monk, you're kind of wasting it, because the fact is the movement speed buff that you probably be getting from it would be the same eventually as the Flame Stride at 5th level.
Yeah.
Okay, so interesting. Flame Stride. Actually, let me quickly pull up source game rules. Ranger. What is the highest level they need to be to get access to 5th level spells? And that is 17th. Yes. Monks do not get unarmored movement until I think 5th level. So the time that you would be spending getting to 5th level spells with your ranger, it's a waste of time to take the monk subclass. It's a waste of time to be multiclassing into monk for that. Okay, I can see that. So, ranger, you now have a 60 feet walking speed. You've been hasted, so you have 120 feet walking speed. You do your regular action, you have a 240 feet walking speed, and you do Tabaxi dash. You now have 480 feet walking speed that you just always do 3d6 of fire damage as you pass through people, and because it's a concentration spell, unless they hit you and break your concentration, you're maintaining this spell. So you're just...
My God, you really are the Flash with this.
And like there's no save, right?
There's no save.
There is no save.
You're just too fast.
They
just
automatically
too
get
fast. You
damage.
can't even do a save.
You're too fast, they automatically take damage. Now be aware,
disgusting.
the Tabaxi dash is only for the first instance of using this, right? So from then on, you're going to be action dashing, and you're going to be like using your haste speed. which means that your bonus action is now going to be used for something light. I don't think rangers get a lot of options for bonus actions other than things that take up their concentration. But notice this. I'm going to keep pulling it up because it's such a perfect tangent. You take Flame Stride as a 17th level ranger and you want to know what you can do as a bonus action with one subclass. Tell your dragon to fucking do some damage as a bonus action command, or tell your beast to do an attack as a bonus action.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, you do this, and while your animal is fighting, all they see is just some blur go past them. What the fuck is that? It's me.
Shit, I'm on
I
fire.
have speed.
Bruh.
Oh, that's fucking cool as hell to see.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I am looking forward to play as the Dragonborn Artificer for the next campaign.
I feel like
That's
wait,
right.
I'm gonna be an artificer. Wait
No,
a minute.
do you know what this means? Dragonborn Artificer, okay? The Dragonborn Artificer, on their first turn, what do? I'm going to do an action to summon my guns, and I'm going to use a bonus action to do Flame Stride. Since your guns fire as bonus actions, it means that after you dash by them, you're just doing you're literally doing a drive-by as you pull out your guns and fire at them.
Fucking Christ.
Man.
Okay.
So, wait.
Oh, this is fucking cool. This is so fucking cool. What a good third level spell to be adding. And on top of this, Flame Stride is third level because it's accessible by sorcerers and wizards. Let's take third level, right? 4 and 5 bumps it up to 30. 6 and 7 bumps it up to 40. And 8 and 9 bumps it up to a 50. Meaning that the wizard Tabaxi gets a total movement speed of 80 now as a bonus action. And their main action can be used to cast spells that don't need to do that. So you've now made the wizard and sorcerer the squishiest class, one of the most mobile classes, with the ability to constantly get out of the way and do regular spell casting at them.
Nice.
God damn.
Okay. This is good. This is a fucking fantastic third level spell that was so needed for the game, because we need to give our boys some way to get out of combat.
Yeah, this is like on the
disengaging.
same level as Haste, if not better. Like,
Yeah.
dang.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's see. Haste is also a third level spell, so you're picking this or Haste. So this is a nice Haste replacement. I would argue that Haste still has its place, but Haste is because you're buffing a melee combatant versus this, which is good to buff the ranged combatant who can't do melee.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
you could always do what Zen did, and then just put it into a bead. That way you have both.
True, you could also do that. The Haste speed or the Flame Stride bead. I think there's a limit though, so whereas Haste can't go up in levels, Flame Stride can. So you would Haste speed yourself, Flame Stride, and then you would have both spells running at the same time. Okay. Alright. Icing Death's Frost, a second level evocation spell. Casting time 1 action. It's a 15-foot cone from yourself. It is somatic and material, which means you can cast this spell silently. The material component doesn't need to be used, but in case you want to use it, it's a vial of what's called melt water. I don't know what melt water is. Let me go ahead and just pull that up.
I think it's
This is
like,
melted ice.
I think it's just melted like ice.
Okay. That's weird, right? Wouldn't melted water just be water?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's fucking. They gotta
It's
give it a
glacier
special
water.
name.
Glacier.
No, it's got to be melted from a specific ice cube. That's what constitutes meltwater.
Okay. So like you just say, babe, it's a glacier one, right? That makes sense because Icing Death's Frost. Okay, so
Ah, yes.
it is an instantaneous, and who has access to this? This is only for sorcerers and wizards. Oh, none of these are ritual spells, by the way. Okay, so a burst of icy energy emanates from you in a 30-foot cone. Each creature in that area must make a con save. On a fail, take 3d8 cold, and is covered in ice for 1 minute, or until a creature uses its action to break the ice off itself or another creature. A creature covered in ice has its speed reduced to 0, and on a successful save, a creature takes half as much damage with no additional effects. We have now created May's spell, and we also have the cold variant of Burning Hands.
That is awesome.
I like this.
That
And
definitely.
and on top of this, when you
Give-
cast this spell at 3rd level or higher, increase it by an additional d8 for every spell slot above 2nd.
I think that's nice for a handful of reasons. Not only for, essentially same spell variants of like damage, but on top of it, some people like to play their characters with a very specific theme, like
Yeah.
on their spells and such. So giving them that type of option, but in cold, is really nice.
Yeah. So I'll let you guys know this now. Here's one of the other reasons I do like this. Sorcerer has a sorcerer option for its sorcery points, where you get to change the damage type of a spell into another damage type, going along the lines with acid, cold, fire, lightning, or poison. Now, it kind of sucks when you're to keep up the theme of Cryomancer, you have to constantly be spending these sorcery points. So any cold damage spells are really nice to add in. Any thunder damage, just adding more spell types that aren't fire. Because if you can do things that aren't fire, you're really adding on to this effect. Which, as a side note, going back to Flame Strike, because I really like this, because of the fact that it's a sorcery thing, imagine the ability to swap the fire damage with cold, acid, lightning, or poison, which means that when you rush by someone, your shocking energy just streaks off of them. Your trail of fucking poison also affects them, so you're singed from fucking League of Legends.
Nice.
You're just crop dusting the entire enemy group.
I am the crop dust wizard. All shall fear my poison. That's cool. I like that a lot.
God bless.
All right. I already see the name of this spell, and I already know that this is gonna be taken. Oh, of course it's for this. This next spell is for Bard, Sorcerers, and Wizards, and it's called Nathar's Mischief.
Of
I know
course.
someone who's going to be using this.
Alright, first off,
no.
it is a illusion spell. It is a casting time of 1 action, a range of 60 feet. Same thing as actually the Icing Death's Frost. It's only somatic and material, which means this spell can be cast silently, and the component doesn't need to be consumed, but in case you want to know what it was, it's a piece of crust from an apple pie.
What?
What?
It is a concentration spell up to 1 minute, and allow me to do this. You fill a 20-foot cube centered on a point you can choose within a range of 60 feet with Fey and Draconic magic. Roll on the Mischievous Surge table to determine the magical effect produced. At the start of each of your turns, you can move the cube up to 10 feet and re-roll on the table. So, on a roll of 1, the smell of apple pie fills the air, and each creature in the cube must succeed on a wisdom saving throw or become charmed by you until the start of your next turn. 2. Bouquets of flowers appear all around, and each creature in the cube must succeed on a dexterity saving throw or be blinded until the start of your next turn.
This is fantastic.
Yeah, I love this. I love this as a side note, because now you have you could just, can I flavor the bouquet of flowers to be cherry blossoms DM to fulfill my weeb side? Sure.
Nothing personal, kid.
Each creature in the cube must succeed on a wisdom save or begin giggling until the start of your next turn. A giggling creature is incapacitated and uses all of its movements to move in a random direction.
Oh
And
boy.
4 drops of molasses appear and hover in the cube, turning it into difficult terrain until the start of your next turn. Okay.
My worst nightmare. Sticky fucking molasses trying to get through that. I can't handle
Oh,
it.
bro, I'm gonna love the giggling
Oh my
effect
gosh.
a lot.
Yeah.
Okay, so
That is so
Okay,
goofy.
okay, one at a time.
I'm really hoping that there's gonna be a like if Bard ever gets like a Fey stuff or something, anyone similar, that would
Well,
be
so
very interesting.
Bard does have a Fey-themed subclass, and it's the College of Glamour. The College of Glamour is very much focused on being this kind of like charm and temp HP type of buffer on the field. And so using this is an action on top of your Nature's Mischief. Oh my god. Hold on. You guys ready for this?
Yeah.
Bard. I am College of Glamour Bard, and when you do College of Glamour, the temporary hit points are applied based off of a costume that you apply to your allies, okay?
Okay.
Ready for this? You happen to roll 2 on Nathar's Mischief, getting the bouquet of flowers, the DM. So how does the spell go off? I dressed my companion up as a cat with a coin on his head, and me and my 2 other companions are dressed as 2 uniformed soldiers with letters R's on our chest. As the bouquet of flowers appear all around us, prepare for trouble and make it double.
Oh my god.
Oh my! I'm gonna kill you. I'm gonna kill you.
The tabaxi, that's their costume. It's just the coin on their head.
Yes.
God, I hate it.
I was like,
I love it and hate it.
About a coin on the top of a cat's head. I'm like, oh god.
Oh
Kind of
man.
makes me think of like the
hate it
mass
so
sexy jutsu when they were fighting Kagura and
Oh,
like
that
the
was
fucking
my
fourth grade ninja
God.
war. That shit was.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Oh
Oh.
my god, wait, technically that could happen if you have like a wizard
Yeah.
illusion.
Yes.
With,
I'm sorry. Hold on. I was gonna say glitch. I think you were saying something right now.
Yeah, that what you were saying, it's reverse harem sexy jutsu.
Yeah, that's what it
Yes.
was called.
Oh man. Okay. So let's go ahead and see this one. This next one is also for bards, sorcerers, warlocks, and wizards. So we're looking at a few of our charisma classes. I'm assuming this is gonna be focused on your charisma. In fact, what a funny name to give to a bard. Ralothim's Psychic Lance. Oh, the bards will flavor this lance to be something.
Lance?
Okay, so it is an enchantment spell. Of course it is. It is an action casting time. It has a range of 120 feet, and it only is a verbal component. It's an instantaneous duration. All right, here we go. You unleash a shimmering lance of psychic power from your forehead at a creature that you can see within range. Alternatively, you can utter the creature's name. If the named target is within range, aka 120 feet, it gains no benefit from cover or invisibility as the lance homes in on it. If the named target is not in range, the lance dissipates and the spell slot is not expended. The target must succeed on an intelligence saving throw or take 10 d6 psychic damage and be incapacitated until the start of your next turn.
Uh,
10d6
Oh
is
my
120
God.
feet. It is both long and hard.
Yes,
I'm
and
sorry.
a creature cannot benefit from cover nor invisibility from this. And the fucking best thing about this, the target is not in range. No spell slot. It's entirely free.
Wait,
can
so
run
this
away.
That's
This is
fucking
a fourth level spell?
goofy.
This is a 4th
Damn.
level spell, and when it scales up, for every level of 5th level or higher, it's an additional d6, which means that as 4th level, we're getting 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. This can sail up to 15 d6s of psychic damage, and let's also point this out.
That's
The
a brain
moment,
blast.
the moment I heard the description, we all finally have it now. We have spooky boom spark man.
Yes.
Oh my God.
That's exactly what I was
It's
thinking
been
about.
done.
I was thinking
that's
about
gonna be an
was like
amazing
if you
build.
know their name with how much damage it does, it's literally the Death Note.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's another good thing. So that's an interesting thing about this. This spell works if you utter the creature's name too. You can either it's either a creature you can see, or you can just close your eyes. Kalima.
Oh shit.
So
Yo.
I'll be honest. I'm hoping someone, if anyone here, but just someone uses a character and they're like, like just in the middle of a mini boss, and he's like, "Hey, so what's your name by any chance?"
that from here, this spell is really important because if the boss is hiding from you guys or trying to be invisible, you can say the creature's name. Which also, here's another thing to note: this spell works very well if the creature has a name. Meaning, you can't just say let's say for example what's a nameless creature that like there's plenty of. Slime. Okay, you can't just say gelatinous cube and it targets it because the gelatinous cube, that's its creature type. It's not a name of the creature. So if the creature doesn't have a name, you need to be able to see it.
So if it doesn't have, okay, you just explained it.
You just have to be able to see it within 120 feet if it doesn't have a name. So that's good to know if you're fighting creatures that have invisibility that either have not given you a name or don't have a name in the first place.
Yeah.
You know, this could actually be really good for someone who's trying to play like a bounty hunter, because clearly they would know the name of their bounty.
Exactly, right? And and AKA the Sparky Boom Boom Man, he knows the name of the characters. He just
He just really sucks at freaking aiming.
Yeah. All right. Here we go. The next one, and I think this is going to be our last one, and you know, it's another summoning spell. And this one is for druids, sorcerers, and wizards. It is a 5th level conjuration spell called Summon Draconic Spirit. Oh, I wonder what it's gonna do. It is a casting time of 1 action. It's a range of 60 feet. A V, S, and M, so verbal, somatic, and material, and yes. an art object from a dragon's horde worth at least 500 gold pieces.
Damn.
What a specific requirement. You need
That is so
an
specific.
object that is from a dragon's horde. You need to find a dragon, you need to find its horde, and you need to take an art object specifically.
Hey, can I borrow this?
I have to be setting up
You're
a
gonna
new
borrow
book.
it for next like.
Huh.
Like
I'll
some of
give it
these,
back.
some of these items are like really super specific. They have to be
Yeah.
setting up something big.
Yeah, they are totally doing something big. But here, let me go ahead and just continue with the description. You call forth a draconic spirit. It manifests in an unoccupied space that you can see within range. The corporeal form uses the draconic spirit stat block. When you cast the spell, choose a family of dragon, chromatic, gem, or metallic. The creature resembles a dragon of the chosen family, which determines certain traits in its stat block. The creature disappears when it drops 0 hit points or the spell ends. The creature is an ally to you and your companions. In combat, the creature shares your initiative count, but it takes its turn immediately after yours. It obeys your verbal commands, no action required by you, and if you don't issue any, it takes the dodge action and uses its move to avoid danger. Alright, and at higher level spells, when you cast a spell using 6th level or higher, use the higher level wherever the spell's level appears in the stat block. And so going off of Draconic Spirit, the stat block. It is a large dragon. It has an armor class of 14 plus the spell's level. And since this is a 5th level spell, you're looking at a base of 19 AC for this creature you summon. Its hit points is 50 plus 10 for each spell level above 5th. So it's a 50 hit point creature with 19 AC. It has a base movement speed of 30, a flying speed of 80, and a swimming speed of 30. With 19 strength, 14 dexterity, 17 constitution, 10 intelligence, 14 wisdom, and 14 charisma. It is resistant to... Oh, if you pick chromatic or metallic, it's resistant to all the damage types, which is acid, cold, fire, lightning, and poison. And if you pick gem, it's resistant to force, necrotic, psychic, radiant, and thunder. I think you pick one, right? Because that's what it was.
Pick one. Yeah, you pick one.
So I'll be honest with you. I can see a campaign of dragon worshippers with all this stuff.
Yeah, I would totally love if this was all setting up for a Horde of the Dragon Queen revamp because that adventure needs more love. But let me go ahead and continue. It's immune to being charmed, it's immune to being frightened, and it's obviously immune to being poisoned. It has a 30 feet of blind sight, a 60 feet of dark sight, and its passive perception is 12. It understands Draconic and the language that you speak. Its proficiency bonus is equal to your bonus. Shared resistance. When you summon the dragon, choose one of its damage resistances. You have resistance to the chosen damage type until the spell ends. And
This
now
spell is so good.
it is.
I know, right?
And now it's actions. It has multi-attack. The dragon uses its breath weapon, and it makes a number of bite and claw attacks equal to half the spell's level rounded down. As a 5th level spell, this means that this dragon, every turn as a bonus action, is doing a breath weapon and 2 attacks, which is 1 bite and 1 claw. Thank you so much, Zen, for the resub. The bite and claw, they have whatever their plus to hit is your spell attack modifier. So by the time you're able to cast 5th level spells, let's say this is like a plus 10 to hit or whatever. This means that the dragon gets a plus 10 to hit. It has a 10-foot reach. It's 1d6 plus 4 plus the spell's level as piercing damage. And the breath weapon, it is a stream of multicolored energy in a 30-foot cone. Each creature in the area makes a dex save, taking 2d6 of your choice of the dragon type. Of your choice of the damage type, this dragon has resistance to on a failed save for half as much on a successful one. Okay.
I feel like I'm reading a novel, reading the spell description.
Right. That's kind of what it is with any spell that summons something with its own stat block.
Yeah.
But
That's also.
Oh, hey Zen.
That also happens when the spell is really fucking good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This spell's really good,
Well,
but
here.
it's only sent back as
Let me add this, and this is probably the most undermining part of this spell. For a 5th level spell, the breath weapon is only 2d6.
Oof.
The breath weapon is as strong as a 1st level Dragonborn's breath weapon.
Yeah.
I think weaker, because now I think they're d8s, right? now?
Yeah, they're D8s now, so it's weaker.
it's a D8 for Dragonborn. Huh?
Yeah. So, interesting. It's a dragon spirit that has a weaker breath attack than a 1st level Dragonborn. And his bite and claw is, let's see, at 5th level, 1d6 plus 9. That's pretty decent damage for its weapon. So let's say all of this hits. And we take the average number for the d6, which is 4. 4 plus 9 is 13. 2 attacks land. That's 20. That's 26. and 2d6s rounding up to 8. That's 34 points of damage as your bonus action. As a verbal command on the dragon's turn. You still have your bonus action to do whatever you want.
I feel I feel like it's still pretty good. That's a lot of damage. Like,
it is. It's a lot of damage from a creature that has a pretty decent AC, where at base level it's a 19 AC. I think
Isn't it a 5th level spell?
Yes.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
This
that's
is
fine for a 5th level.
yeah.
Yeah.
Also, I think it's only that low because it's a conjure instead of summon.
Right.
Because the conjure is always weaker than like the summon spell.
Fair enough. And then what do you guys think of the fact that at 5th level, it's a dragon that has 50 hit points?
That's pretty good with 19 AC. Like,
Yeah, with 19 AC, it's not gonna be taking that much damage anyway, so
That's
pretty
fair.
decent chunk.
But yes.
Time for a summoning build.
This entire Unearthed Arcana with all this dragon stuff is really fucking nuts. Zen, were you able to listen to the stream to understand what was unveiled in this or no?
Not so much. I saw that you guys were talking about it though. I've been reading it.
Yeah.
Okay, yes. So you already kind of skimmed through and you know about the gem dragons and the kobolds. Yeah. I'm just gonna go ahead and give a brief overview of what we just went through and kind of give my own rating to it. Chromatic Dragon. If I'm going off of a 1 to 10 scaling, I like the fact that this is something that is giving Dragonborn first off sub races. That's something that, as much as Dragonborn, yes, technically it's a racial feat to pick one of these like 10 different archetypes. It feels very undermining to have the chromatic and metallic be grouped up when they're very specifically in lore separate.
Yeah.
Going off of the fact, it's nice to have a little bit of retouching. Chromatic and metallic just both got an extra thing, which is the Chromatic Warding and Breath Weapon. I think this is probably most Dragonborn that I see, for the purposes of flavor, unless you're taking poison damage, which is exclusive to green dragons, I usually see people take metallic. That's not to say that I've never seen like a blue Dragonborn or so forth, but it just, metallic is very popular. It's very shiny, and maybe a red Dragonborn. Red and blue are probably the most common dragon types I've seen. I don't really see black Dragonborns. I think in all my years of D&D, I've only had one black Dragonborn. Never had a white Dragonborn, and no one takes green Dragonborn because poison is like the most common. On top of fire, poison is like the most common damage type and immunity.
How do you think like gem Dragonborns will look? Would they kind of have like weird like kind of like
here? Let me go ahead and finish up the I guess the brief review. And on top of this, with the chromatic warding giving the immunities, that is a huge thing because now it's like. The first thing that just comes to my mind is the immunity to fire, and now I can swim through lava. That's something that's really cool and really nice to give to them. I think this might. No, I wouldn't say it probably needs a touch up. The fact that it's only used once per long rest might be a little bit of a thing, so I'll just put this as like a 8 or even 9 out of 10, just because I feel like there's still more tweaking to come to this. Whereas a metallic Dragonborn. Metallic Dragonborn, I would put, if the previous one was 8 or 9 out of 10, I would put this as 9 or 10 out of 10, just because the fact is, this is a second breath weapon given to the dragons, so for anyone who only gets one extra attack, this means you now have 2 breath weapons you can do in a single turn, and the ability to incapacitate using a breath weapon is so fucking strong. That's really strong. Yeah. I can't see anyone taking the shove too much. Maybe if like you're like more on the squishy side and you just need them to get away, but why would you take the shove when incapacitating them makes them take no reactions, which means that you can just move away for free. And on top of this, strength, usually creatures with high strength tend to have high con because they're like big creatures that usually like have big heaping muscles. So Metallic Dragon's pretty good. Its only real weakness is going to be fighting against creatures that aren't big and meaty. But regardless, that's still a very strong breath weapon. It's nice to have 2. 9 or 10 out of 10. And Gem Dragons. I can only dream of what the Gem Dragonborn are going to be like. You have to remember that Gem Dragonborn, for all intents and purposes, Sapphire Dragons are still very smooth, but it's like the idea of like, rather than like it's all one smooth body, it's like you take like a really rounded headpiece and then you attach like a faint if someone was far away, it looks like it's interconnected and it's like one moving piece. But if we recall, the dragons are meant to have like psychic, so their body parts are like faintly connected through this like psychic bond. Granted, I want to say I don't think it's impossible to sever their heads, because I think, you know, with enough force and enough separation, it is like a permanent damage that the psychic thing just can't mend back together. But that's a nice way to flavor it. You flavor it that like, yes, my muscles and stuff move because there's psychic energy in between the joints, rather than like, oh, there's like blood and muscle stuff. But then of course, you know, then there's the whole technically diseases don't work on them because they're made of gems, in which case fuck you for whoever says that. But gem dragons are really cool.
So magically corrupted fucking gems for diseases and shit like that. I mean,
yeah, that's a way to do it.
Whatever.
I think the gem flight is really strong. Fuck, the fact that you can use that like once per long rest to get a flight. That's a free flight spell. Oh, sorry, that's a free half-ass fly spell, because fly spell is like 60 feet of movement. So depending on what class you're taking, you could increase the movement speed further. Bless you. And the psionic mind is nice. It's a one-way message, but I think there's still more to this, since other creatures that do psionic links can do more. But then again, it has the gem fly and all this other stuff, so it's a solid thing. 9 out of 10. Kobold is by far, I would actually rate the Kobold 10 out of 10, just because Kobold has so little going for it. The fact that Kobolds only have like pack tactics and
they were just like a shittier goblin, is
yeah,
what it was.
It's like
yeah, they were just a goofy scaled goblin.
Well, the cool thing is that their pack tactics and their grovel and stuff are now basically put into their roar.
Yeah, that's okay here. The pack tactics, yeah, you're right. The pack tactics and grovel have been now made into one perk, and it's like it says, the grovel's for anyone within 10 feet of you. The grovel also isn't a save, so it's literally exactly what you said. Advantage, the 10 feet around you. That's what that is. But on top of reflavoring the roar to do that, kobolds now are the only race that gets a tail attack. You can learn a cantrip for free as a kobold to imply that you're a kobold that's a mage, or you have advantage against being frightened, which is really good for our melee combatants who like staying up close and personal. They've made kobold super versatile for a race that wasn't played on a lot, or usually played because of the fact that no one picks kobold. Now kobold is probably going to be taken. I can totally see a kobold monk who like focuses on their tail attack entirely now. And the Draconic Roar, really cool. You can use that as many times as your proficiency modifier, and the kobold race could... Oh, previously the grovel and bay could only be used on short rest or long rest recovery, whereas this is, you have a number of times you can use it a day. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
10 out of 10. Kobold is really good. Love it. Feats, these are probably a little bit easier scale. If I were to put like a grading system, which one I like more than the others, I would go metallic, chromatic, then gem. Metallic because it gives you a free casting of Cure Wounds at first level, and it also just adds it to your spell list. And the fact is, that plus D4 reaction to an ally's AC when they're being attacked really makes this like, I am a protector dragon. I don't think it's when you or another creature, so you can use this to bump your own AC as well. So, Metallic Dragon, I am a Metallic Dragon, Dragonborn Paladin, Cleric, whatever class that uses heavy armor with a shield. And my AC is now currently like what? Plate armor plus a shield is 20. I am doing, what's the one spell? Fucking...
Shield?
Not shield. I'm doing
Shield of Faith?
Yeah, Shield of Faith
Shield
to
of
add a +2 to my AC, so my AC is 22. And when you attack me, I can roll a D4 and get either 23 to 27 as my, or 26 as my AC now at level 1.
Yeah, and that's just the base armor. It's not counting the upgrades.
Yeah. That's really good. That's why I'm saying Metallic Dragon, 10 out of 10, love it. It's really good. I would only say how many times can you use the wings? Your proficiency bonus? Yeah, 10 out of 10. It's really strong. Chromatic Dragon, adding that 1d4 may not sound like a lot on paper, but that's an extra dice. Meaning that's an extra dice when you're rolling for your damage on a crit. And because this thing I can probably be seeing on Rangers to add on to the list of dice that they get through their buffs and stuff, Chromatic Dragon is really good. Gem Dragon is a little underwhelming. The fact is that it's a saving throw to take 2d8 and push 10 feet away from you after you are dealt damage is okay. I would say if this would be stronger if it was on hit rather than on after you take damage. That would be my biggest thing about this to make it that much stronger. But then again, no, I can't even say that these are just feats because Metallic Dragon and the Chromatic Dragon are really strong buffs in the right hands. Gem Dragon just feels like it's the whole point of the push is to get people to not deal damage to you, and this is meant to be done after you've been dealt damage. I would say for now, this is the most underwhelming of the three, and I would put this as 6 out of 10. The main improvement is to just make it on hit rather than on damage. But here are the spells. Back to the spells. Draconic Transformation, really fucking cool. Really nice to have a bonus action breath attack that doesn't have a recharge or a recovery like Long Rest. And Blindside and 40 feet flying speed, solid. Looking around. And for a 7th level spell, maybe the Blindside. No, because even dragons have like a 30-foot Blindside range. Well, actually, comparing this as a 7th level spell, you grant yourself a 30 feet Blindside, whereas Summon Draconic Spirit summons a 30 feet Blindside creature at 5th level. Maybe improve upon the Blindside, or maybe improve upon the flying speed to make this spell a little bit better to be worthy of being called a 7th level spell. Because it's 3d8s as a bonus action, and this is applied to which classes get this? Druid, Sorcerer, and Wizard. There's so much more that some of these classes can be doing as their bonus actions more than 3d8s, especially Sorcerer with Quicken Spell. So maybe improve upon this, either improve the damage, improve the flying speed, or improve the Blindside, or hell, improve all of them by a slight amount. And then I would say this is worth being considered a 7th level spell. For now, it feels like a 6th level spell. The shield, Paladin Shield, really fucking solid. You give this to your tanky member. They get a +5 AC to the half cover. They have resistance to the metallic and chromatic damage types, and they now have evasion built into their saves. This is a really solid spell, really beautiful. I would say this is actually stronger than Draconic Transformation, and it is a 6th level spell. Really fucking good. Flame Stride, by far the one that we probably had the most fun with talking about, because you have at 3rd level, you have a 20 feet movement speed increase that does not provoke opportunity attacks, and as you run by people, they take a d6 of fire damage just because you ran by them and you were moving so fast. That's so fucking cool. It scales up really beautifully to the point where it gives you a +50 speed at a +50 speed at 9th level. Give this to your Tabaxi, Ranger, whatever have you, Artificer, Ranger. We got over this in Sorcerer and Wizard. And now you've given a variant of Haste, whereas Haste usually benefits our melee combatants. Usually, most of the time it benefits them. I'm not looking over at you, Chronomancer.
I was about to say,
yeah. This is a solid spell to give to someone if they have no way to get themselves out of trouble without haste. And I would like to argue that this can be better than haste because it can scale up. So the damage of this. Oh, hold on, that's right. It only got I only mentioned the +50 movement speed at 9th level. When you cast this at 3rd level and get an additional 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 6. When you run by someone, this is doing 7d6 fire damage for every person you run by with this spell. That's strong. This is I would argue that this is better for haste for our range people, whereas haste is really good for our melee combatants and chronomancers. Icing Death Frost, really nice to have a cold variant of Burning Hands, and it's pretty cool to know that it covers the person in ice, so they have to move. Their movement speed is at 0, otherwise they take an action to stop that. Pretty nice. Nathar's Mischief. This is a good spell. I think it's really nice to have another utility spell that's centered around a very thematic purpose of causing a little bit of chaos in the battlefield, especially for our players who love that whole I'm gonna do a joke. Maybe add more Mischievous Surges, because I think with these 4 options, while they're all pretty good, I rarely see difficult terrain be used too much, but then again, difficult terrain can be a pretty scary tool if the players don't have ways to combat that, or sorry, the enemy doesn't have ways to combat that. Giggling Creature's nice. It's a minor version of Tasha's Hideous Laughter. despite it being a spell level higher. And the flowers and the apple pie smell are pretty funny. I would say maybe add like 2 more options to make this a D6 table, so that way it has like that much more flair to it, but it's still a good spell overall. And it's a bonus, and it's an action spell, so you can pair this with your bard's bonus actions or your sorcerer and wizard's bonus action stuff. Psychic Lance, really strong spell, 4th level spell that does 10d6 psychic damage, and if you know the name of your creature within 120 feet, they don't benefit from invisibility and they don't benefit from any cover. Beautiful, fucking totally amazing. And scaling this up, this can eventually do 15 d6s of psychic damage at 9th level. Really, really good spell. I like it, and it's really funny that bards also get access to this, so now they can thrust people with their psychic lances. And summon Draconic Spirit. I said my gripes before I was doing the reviews about this. I would say maybe for a 5th level spell, maybe at least give the breath weapon and the ability to scale up. Because right now, everything but the breath weapon can scale up. So like, oh, for every spell level higher than 5th, it gets an additional d6 on the breath weapon. Because that's the only thing it's not saying here that's really selling me. The breath weapon feels underwhelming for what it's doing. And when you do bump it up a level, you're only realistically adding 2 more points of damage to your bite and claw combo if both of them hit. Which, when you bump up from 5th to 6th level, you'd expect something that at least either has a good scaling, like a d6 to add a potential, or like maybe a +2 for damage for every spell level. But if the breath weapon at least said for every spell level higher than 5th, you get an extra d6, this spell would be perfect, and it's a good 5th level spell because almost every other summon has ways of scaling up their damage by increasing spell level. What do you guys think from what I've said? If you guys had any notes to say about the stuff that we've seen today?
I want to say my 2 favorite are probably the Psychic Mental Lance and then the Shield one that gives cover to your allies.
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying, thank God it wasn't more shit for fucking elves and goblins, because I'm sick and tired of elves and goblins.
I am sick of this lack of dragons, on this lack of this motherfucking Dungeons and Dragons. I need more dragons in my Dungeons and Dragons.
There's plenty of dragons. It's just, it seems like a lot of the updates they come out with are just like, oh yeah, here's this new race of goblin, but they're interdimensional goblins. Like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah. Here, what's up, Nick?
I've been a Dragonborn main since like I first started D&D. It finally gained the respect and love it deserves. Oh my god.
Hold on. When was the last time anything Draconic related was released? It was for the Monk and the Ranger. And what was it before that?
Oh, dude, that makes this so much. I just came up with
the only thing I remember is them taking away the penalty from Kobold, but that wasn't really adding anything as taking something away.
That's more of a balance thing than it is adding anything. I don't think outside of the Ranger and hold on, let me check something quickly. Is that still Unearthed Arcana, or is that official now?
What?
The Ranger and Monk thing?
I think it's still Unearthed Arcana.
Okay,
I'm not gonna lie. I now kind of want to play a Gem Dragon Ascendant Dragon Monk.
Yeah, they're whatever new book they're coming out with, it's probably gonna be Feywild, or at least here's all the colors of the mystics around, because we have Drake Warden and we have Way of the Ascended Dragon Monk. We have new Dragonborn sub-races and Kobold improvements and new Draconic themed spells, and we have Feywild stuff that's also on the horizon. Whatever new book they're coming out with, I am super excited for, because it's going to be something really colorful as far as like what's being released. And if it's on top of this, let's not forget the fact that because they're adding chromatic stuff, we only have one Chromatic Dragon in the game as far as the stat block goes, and it's only for the adult variant. We don't have the Wyvern, we don't have the young, and we don't have the ancient Sapphire Dragon. Neither do we have the other 4 dragon types. I would be saddened if they don't bring Gem Dragons officially to the game if they're adding it as a race option, because that's what Dragonborn are based off of, the actual dragons themselves. And in case any of you guys are wondering, the reason Ruby is not on that list is because in the same way, Tiamat is the 5-headed chromatic dragon god, and Bahamut is the metallic
Platinum
dragon god. Yeah, the platinum dragon. Yeah. You have the gems variant, which is the ruby dragon, actually.
Really?
Ruby Dragon D&D.
Yeah, isn't
here
the
we go.
Ruby Dragon the
Yeah, Sarador.
the big oomph?
Sardior.
Yeah, he's a big boy.
He is said to be a unique ruby dragon in his natural form. He had a long and sinew body covered with deep ruby red scales. At a distance, he was often mistaken for an ancient red dragon, but his playful demeanor soon betrayed his true self. He was also reputed to be a great conversationalist, and many who met him are unprepared for his sharp wit. And yeah, he even has like his own floating castle called the Ruby Palace.
It's made out of fucking rubies and red gold.
That's just funny.
Awesome.
He's worshipped by any neutral dragons, scions, and psychic warriors. Yeah, because like gem dragons are the only dragons that have access to psychic stuff. So this is totally like in line with that, where it's like, you know, usually your metallic dragons are like the good aligned dragons, your chromatic dragons are the evil aligned. Here we have the neutral aligned gem dragons, which is like the Grey Force. They're neither on good, they're neither on evil, and usually when you're dealing with like creatures that do psychic stuff, they're almost like a third party and not really on the side of good or evil.
Yeah, they're like the murder hobos of dragons.
Yeah, that's a good way of looking at this.
Yes. Welcome to my humble abode. Yes, you may fight me, or you can solve this puzzle.
Right. Well, here.
Pretty much.
Do you know who Joe is?
Oh no. The Ruby Dragon? Joe? I know all things in existence, but I do not know which Joe you are speaking of.
Joe Mama, and then immediately get fucking eaten.
Yeah, no, it's not even eaten. He just psychically blasts your mind and melts your head. Oh, this is great.
Yo, Xeno, you know what's even better? If you were to tell your name to the dragon, it's D's.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Well, here. This is a lot of great content. I really like the fact that gem dragons are coming back into circulation. I like that we're getting more content about this. Hopefully the adult Sapphire Dragon gets picked up by more people. But it is with that I'm going to go ahead and give this stream a call here. Thank you everyone so much for tuning on in. It's always a pleasure having you guys join and watch us. And if you enjoyed today's content, please be sure to support the channel by following and subscribing on Twitch. For any stream notifications, possible chances to participate, and content polls, follow the Twitter and join the Undead Legion on Discord. And for any previous stream VODs such as today, check out the XenoLich YouTube channel. Be safe and have a good night.